Welcome back to the Rough Example Datsun 510 project. It's been a couple weeks. Sorry I haven't been posting recently, but I have been busy. As you can see, the car is back from paint and at home here, safely tucked into the garage. Um, it was quite the ordeal getting it to the paint shop. There was a big snowstorm. We had rain, snow. The whole car got filled with water, and we had to dry it all out before the paint and then after the paint. And so I'm just relieved to have it here. Um, so right now, Caleb has been coming over and working on the cut and buff, um, which is basically just where we sand the paint down to get rid of any orange peel, any texture imperfections. Um, you can kind of see on this door. Um, there's a lot of compound on here, but you can tell this part right here is glossy, so that has been buffed out already. And then this surface has been sanded down. We we've just been sanding it on a DA like this, wet sanding it we did 1000 grit, then it went to 1500, 2500, and 3000. And then finishing that off with some polishing compound after. So like this door right here, yeah, it's kind of hard to see because it's got all this compound dust on it, but you can tell this one is a lot glossier. So yeah, I mean, there's a few spots, you can see where we're sanding that out and getting some of the imperfections out of the paint job. There's a little run right here that we need to sand out. A few little things like that. But we're getting pretty close. I think by the next 3 days we should have this finished up. So kind of in the meantime, while Caleb's been working on buffing it out, I've just been reinstalling stuff like these new rubber bumpers for the gas door and getting the gas door prepped to put back on. I had to run reinstall the drain pieces that go through into the fenders. And these fenders were a huge pain to install. I'm probably 4 or 5 hours into getting these fenders put on. It doesn't seem like it should be that hard, but yeah, I'm trying to be like super delicate, to not scratch this right here and everything. And there's a rubber seal that you have to install on the pinch weld inside there. So of course, when you're trying to put the fender on, the rubber seal is flapping around and doesn't want to stay in place. So I ended up just, after a couple of attempts, I got frustrated and just glued it on there with some rubber cement that I just brushed on. And I also had to install the fender mirrors, which was also not as straightforward as you would think. Inside the fender mirror, there's kind of like a cylinder that goes down to about there. It's probably like 3 inches tall or something. And that was actually interfering with the frame rail. So then I couldn't get the fender to sit totally flat. So I ended up having to cut those cylinders in half. There's a spring in there. So I got a grinder, cut the spring in half, and then did a bunch of work on that in order to get it to clear the frame rail. It's kind of strange because these cars in Japan, did come with the fender mirrors. So I'm surprised they didn't fit. So I'm kind of wondering if maybe they needed to be mounted forward a little bit because there was kind of a notch in the frame rail. I just put these in the spot that the previous owner had drilled. So I'm guessing that might be the problem. But yeah, I'm just kind of going through and, installing the little bumper pieces, and I polished out this hardware that's going to be in here. And I also reinstalled the VIN plate with pop rivets. So I had to drill some new holes and rivet that on there. And then I'm working on getting the windshield wiper pieces reinstalled. I couldn't totally remember how they all go back together, but I went and bought all new hardware for those, and I had to create some new gaskets from scratch. I can show you how I did that with, I have a big sheet of rubber that I used. It's almost like as if you cut up an inner tube. So I just have this rubber sheet right here, and luckily I had saved the old gaskets because these are just totally crispy. So I just traced it out and cut it out with an X-Acto knife to get the new ones. So if you're doing something like this, I mean, even though that's garbage, just keep them, because finding these parts on some of these old Datsuns is impossible. But I guess kind of next steps will be installing the arms for the wipers. And then I wanted to show you my parts that came back from the powder coater. My buddy Travis owns a powder coating operation here in Salt Lake. So here's the subframes for the front and rear. I did these in a satin black, and I feel like they turned out really nice. They're kind of dusty already, but I got the new bushings pressed in there. Those are made by White Line, if you're trying to find them. Those were kind of hard to find. And he also does vapor honing, which is, it's kind of like sandblasting, but it's a little bit, it's not quite as harsh. So like these headlight buckets he did, so you get that nice raw metal finish without it, pitting the metal or distorting it as much as a sandblasting would. And the nice thing is you're able to leave those plastic parts on there. So he did a great job cleaning these up, and then he put a little clear coat on them so I could reinstall those as is if I want. And got a whole other box of stuff that Travis did for me in here. We've got all the motor mounts and everything have been redone in black. Bumper mounts. All these pieces were just super rusty and nasty, so I'm pretty excited to put these fresh, nice parts on there. And got my, one of the next things I'll be doing is putting the doors back on. So I repainted the door hinges. And my son started polishing some of the parts. Like these are the door sill scrapers that he polished out. I think they're looking pretty nice. So yeah, I mean, this is kind of my favorite part of building a car, is the reassembly, just getting to bolt on all these parts that you bought. And I've been working on repainting and replating and all that. So I'm really excited to be at this phase of the project. So yeah, I think that's kind of it for the updates on this. I'll catch you next week and update you on what I've been able to do throughout the week. Um, but I think that is it for this week.